display box, which is this section right up here. The item display box is the same component, but it's either rendering different data. Um, and here, it's also the same component. It's just kind of squished down. So I really wanted to keep it as simple as possible by just having that one component that's multifaceted. So we're going to go through and I'm going to show you how I built it. We go into here, item display box. So the first thing that I had to think about after I made a little wrapper was, what are these? What should I call these things? So I decided to call them items, and then I would push them into an array and display it. So what I decided to do, to format this, I wanted to keep my code. I didn't want to have too many files, and I knew it would be really tiny. So I made, this is actually two components in this section. I have the item display and then the box. So the display itself is this thing. The display is taking the value, the remove item action. So this is an action that will delete it from the reducer. And then the item and the set item ID. So that's what's happening, or it's showing this right here. So if I click on it, it sets the ID. That's the function that's firing. That's then showing this. So I've got this little component, the item display. Then the item display box, it's taking different things like the category and then some different functions, the subcategory, and using that to set the colors and show the different titles or the values that it's pulling in. So the array of items, what it's doing here is it's going into the net worth reducer, into the specific category, say assets, then filtering it if it equals the subcategory. So if it equals cash assets, it's going to pull all of the items called cash assets and put it into an array. So you're going to have to do something really similar with your fixed and variable, but then yours is also, or your expenses, yours will be a little different because you're going to have two arrays, the fixed array and the variable array. So then to sum it, I just did the same thing, but then summed them using the reduce value, summed the financial value dot reduce. Then I have a wrapper with a header. We're passing in the subcategory, that's setting the color down here. I could use it, like it could be easier in this case to, if I had like a class name, just equal subcategory and then have the class name change, but then I have to have CSS set up. So this is how I set it here. Then I'm doing the same thing I've done before with the low start case to give us a nicer title with the capitalization. And then it's giving us the total value. So it's going and summing all the things in this account. So if I added a new cash asset and I put a whole bunch of money in there, then it sums them all up. And then we go through and we're mapping. So sometimes I write this formula like on the first page. I wrote the formula above. I wrote it right up here, the render add form as a formula, then called that formula in the return. But in this case, I just ran the formula right in it, just because it's a shorter one. So I did array of items, which is this array that we created up here. Then I'm mapping it, then going through, returning an item display, which is this little guy up here, and giving the item information for it to render the correct information. Then when I click add, so where's this dark add? Let me think here. Oh, this is this little black button. So the button that enables me to add, so on click, it's going set add form category, which is up in here. Ooh, yeah, where is that? Is that local to this one? Shoot, I'm not sure where I'm pulling that in from and who's storing that. Okay, so that's in the control panel. So that's being passed from the control panel into the item display box, which is the function that sets if there's a name or not. If there is a name, so if there's a name in that state called cash assets, it'll bring up a component or a new component with all the details for cash assets, like so. So that's what's happening there. And then I'm pulling in the net worth reducer. It doesn't, well, actually, yes, so I do need to be pulling in the net worth reducer because I'm mapping through, given the category and subcategory, I'm mapping through to create the array. So this array is coming from the state reducer when we've added things to it. There we go. That is the item display box. I think that's it for all the different components. Naturally, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm super happy to tell you how I did things. But I hope that these help. I also put comments in the side to help explain it a little bit. But I know it's a bit of a stretch kind of understanding how I've done all of this and tackled all these challenges. It took me a long time to come up with a lot of these solutions. So don't think that I just came up with it. Like, it was a lot of thinking and prep work to kind of have this set up. So it'll save you guys a lot of time having those methods already in place to be adding and having the different forms and stuff. There we go. That's that.